Today I'm going to tell you how I use an ice fishing tent as a portable man cave. What's going on, everybody? This is Lamar with MF and Research, and I have a fun one for you today. This is something outside of the realm of things that I normally do, but it's something that I partake in, so I thought I'd share with you my portable man cave that I've had about 3 years. It's an ice fishing tent. It's blue. You see the flag in the back. So let's talk a little bit about it. So normally what ice fishing tents are used for is exactly what the name suggests. Out there on a frozen lake, drilling a hole, having your fire, and fishing. That's not what I'm using it for. Primarily what I use it for is to smoke cigars when it's cold outside. I enjoy cigars. I enjoy them year round. I don't always want to go out to a shop. So sometimes I just want to sit out either in the backyard or somewhere. But right now I'm in the garage. I saw the idea on a podcast. I think it's the Hot Ticket podcast. They used one, and since then I've seen them in a couple different places in a couple different configurations. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about mine, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas. And if you have any questions, hit them in the comments, and stay tuned at the end. I'll show you how I made it comfortable for me and the things that I use in here. So let's first talk about why you want a portable man cave and why an ice fishing tent might fit the bill. So sometimes you have those things that you don't want to do outdoors, but the weather might not permit it. If it's raining or cold, or in some cases too hot, this is a good alternative to do something like that, to give you that alternative. So for me, like I said, cigars is my thing. If you're into model kits and you're spray painting, you can use a setup to do that. You can also set it up to make a portable recording booth. If you need to do something like that, you can insulate blankets on the outside to do some sound dampening, and you've got a nice little portable booth. Or another idea is if you've got something that you leave outside or something that you want to protect from the weather, you can use the tent, and it's not too expensive. And when the power goes out, like it tends to do here during ice storms, you can use this as a place to keep you and the family warm. It's a lot easier to keep warm and maintain heat in a small area like this than it is in either your house or your room. So for the safety aspect, that's a good idea, just to keep it in the background. It doesn't take up too much space, and it'll be very valuable if you ever need it. And the other thing is privacy. If you're sitting out on the balcony, you don't want your neighbors knowing what you're doing, or in the backyard, don't want your neighbors to know what you're doing, in the back, put a tent up. They won't see what's going on. Just try to keep it as PG as possible if you can, but this is a good idea for that. And of course, it's portable. So if you go somewhere and you want to just take it with you, if you're camping or if you're at like the in-laws house and you want to set up shop somewhere, here you go. Just be ready to answer any questions that you might have when they see this tent pop up. Now let me help you pick the right tent for you. I picked one for me, so I'm gonna use that experience and tell you what to consider when looking for a tent. First off, what do you want the tent to do? Where do you want the tent to go? 3 years ago when I bought it, it was gonna go in the backyard, so it was gonna be something to at least withstand some of the elements. This is the first year taking it in the garage. Trying to take it to see if I can get into colder temperatures, or if it gives me a little more versatility, or if it keeps my cigar smoke confined and going out the door, because I sit it right by the garage door, and that's where I keep it. For me, I decided to go the cheap route and pick one of the more budget options up, and it had a coupon at the time. I'll put the link for it in the description, along with some other options that I had my eye on for different price points for different use cases. They go up in range based on the materials, and if you want insulation, and the size. So factoring in what you need in those 3 areas will help you determine which tent is right for you. My tent is 5.75 by 5.75 by 63, and then folded up, it's 42.5 by 6.25 by 6.25. So it's not quite tall enough to stand up for me, but you can still maneuver around just fine. For me by myself, and I'll show you what I have in here later on, it's plenty of space for me, and it's comfortable. If you want to have more than say 1 or 2 people, or you want to bring a whole bunch of stuff in here for whatever you're doing, you might want to consider a larger tent. But for me and the occasional one other person, this is the perfect size. So I've used it. It's cold outside in the back, as cold as 19 degrees, and I was still comfortable. I had to bundle up a little bit, but still pretty comfortable with the heater in here. And we'll talk a little bit about temperature regulation and keeping warm in here a little later. When I had it in the backyard, I think the coldest temperature I saw where I was in it was 19 degrees. With the heater in here, I was fairly comfortable. Had to dress up a little warmly, but I didn't need like a big overcoat, a beanie, gloves, thick socks and all that stuff. Just normal clothes, and I was pretty good. If you're colder than, Texas environments, you might need an insulated tent, and you might want to be mindful of the material that it's made out of. So take your weather into consideration when you're picking out a tent. So now the setup is pretty easy. I started to record it, but I think I must have hit pause or stop by mistake. So all I got is me taking it out the box. It's actually pretty simple. There's the 4 walls around this way and the ceiling. All you do is pop them out. I'm gonna do that right quick. So it just pops down like that, and then I'll pop it right back up. They pop right in place, and that's how you get your tent locked out. The floor is open on the bottom because if you were using it for its intended purpose, you'd be on the ice looking for fish. I'd recommend the first couple of times get somebody to help you just to get maybe two walls done at the same time. And then after that, once you get a hang of it, it's pretty easy. Takedown is pretty easy as well. It's just the opposite of it. Directions are pretty self-explanatory, and there's a few videos on YouTube to show you how to do it if you still get stuck. It's pretty light, so you can move it around the garage if you need to, if you need space, or you can just take it down and set it back up as you need it or don't need it. So I didn't get the one with the insulation, but they do come with pretty substantial insulation in them just to keep you warm and trap some of that heat in. You can get a heater. I've used just a regular old heater, and I've used an infrared heater that I got from Costco. If I can find them on Amazon or something similar, I'll put those links in the description as well. They keep it pretty warm in here. You just have to make sure you put them in the right spot and be mindful of your power draw and all that good stuff. Also, make sure you aren't creating any fire hazards. So with my setup, with the tent, with the door closed, with the windows open, and the fan on to blow the smoke to the inline fan and the heater on, I've been comfortable outside, like I said before, to around 19 degrees. When I've had it in the garage this year, it was about 10, 12 degrees or something like that. And it was nice and toasty in here, and I had the garage doors open, and I was just in here by myself. If you need something colder, keep some of those other factors in mind. Right now it's about mid 40s, and I probably don't even need this hoodie on. If you're interested in the insulated varieties, I'll put some of those in the description as well. Don't forget their affiliate links. They help out. They don't cost you anything extra, and I appreciate the support. One thing to keep mind of is the visibility. You only have these 2 windows that are about 6 by 10, and you have the door, and that's all the visibility you have. So if you're in a space where you're worried about your surroundings, you might want to look at some kind of outdoor camera setup or leave the windows open. Or I know they sell some of the tents that have like the clear PVC backing, kind of like the window that I have. And I'll show that to you here. And maybe you can find some with walls like that. I don't think I've seen them. I haven't really looked for those, but they might be out there. Or if not, you can't find one, you can probably do that yourself and replace one of the walls. All right, we're getting close to the tour. Let's talk about how I keep it lit right now. So right now I'm just using my recording light, shot up against the wall, beaming down. Normally I'll just have that or just the light from the computer. Here's what that looks like with turning the recording light off. And that's still not too bad in here. And for me, I've used a tent light, camping light, a little lantern that I hung from the top, high power flashlight that I had and just ran up top for a little bit. That idea sucked, don't do that. Then I had one of those shop lights that I just clipped up here and hung for the first year. And that worked just fine too. So you don't need to go overboard, just as much light as you need to do whatever it is you're doing in here. If you're working on like model kits and you need a lot of light in here, then take that in mind and get some light appropriately. But if you're just sitting in here watching movies or smoking cigars like me, you don't need that much light. So as far as what you put in here, as far as furniture, that's up to your imagination. When I first had it, I just had a small little table in here, chair, and me, and the heaters, and the fan. Right now I've got a desk in here that I usually use when I'm outside sitting in the garage, if I'm recording out here, or if I'm just sitting out here hanging out. I've got that, I've got my heater, my fan, and just an old office chair that I used to have in my office. And that's pretty much it. I don't need much else in here as long as I've got my entertainment and my cigars and this bottle of Woodford Reserve that's sitting off screen. I'm good to go. For me, I don't decorate it too much in here. I just have the flag back there. Shout out to anybody who knows where this flag is from. Put it in the comments if you do. I'd love to hear that. And most of my entertainment is just either a computer or a tablet hooked up to my portable monitor, and that's pretty much it. Put my TV in here just to test it to see if it fits. It's about 3 inches of clearance on my portable stand. I could lower it if I wanted to on the stand, but I didn't feel like doing all that. That's fine. It's only cold in Texas for a few days anyways. Now thinking about portable, it's only as portable as the power you can supply to it. So for me, I'm in my garage. I've got tons of power outlets out here, different circuits I can put it on just to make sure I don't overload anything. And I'm good to go. If you're out, say camping or somewhere where you're not close to power, you can get you like a Jackery or one of those anchor batteries or anything like that. I'll put a couple of those in there. I've got a Jackery that I use from time to time, and that works out well. It's nice and portable, It fits in the back of your truck and you should be able to take it just fine wherever you want to go. So now without further ado, I'm going to take the camera down and give you the 360 of the room. All right, this is what it looks like on the inside. We'll just start on one side and then work our way to the other. This is just the setup where the cigars sit with the whiskey. That's the light that I have beamed up that I talked about. You see my diffuser. There's just my portable monitor on a Versa stand, the Mac Mini with the 2 external drives. That's what kind of powers everything. Again, the monitor and the light are really the only light that I need. That's my other window and the fan. You see how high it sits up? That's about all the height you get right there. It's nice and comfortable looking at the sides. And there's my flag. It's just zip tied up. I leave it in the tent. It breaks down with the tent. That's why it's wrinkled. So now to see the desk. This is just the cigar setup with the diffuser, just going left to right, my keyboard, utility stand. You've seen all this stuff. The fan, I keep a cloth in here in case I make a mess. There's the heater. So what'd you think? What would you add? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I've got tons of videos coming. This is fun for me. I've got a travel backpack video coming up next because it is finally time to retire the Air. Let me know what you would add to the tent. Let me know if you've got one. Let me know if you've seen one. Any suggestions I'd love to hear. If you got any questions and you're thinking about doing one for yourself, just drop a line in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help you out. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I'm gonna go hang out with this guy and light my cigar, and it's about to be a good evening. MF and Research, and I'm out.